Good evening and welcome to another installment of the New York Minute Sports Show. Spring training is over and the 2026 Yankees season is upon us, folks. I'm breaking it down. It's New York Minute Sports. It's New York Sports for New York Nuts. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's go!
It's New York Minute Sports.
Well, there you have it, folks. Welcome to another installment of the New York Minute Sports Show. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. After all the waiting, after all the meaningless spring training games, after breaking down Spencer Jones home runs, we're here, folks. The season starts tomorrow against San Francisco, and the New York Yankees will head out west to start their 2026 campaign. And that's exactly what I'd like to talk to you about, because the New York Yankees have the most pressure on them in all of Major League Baseball this year to produce a World Series win. And it's the only reason it's not the Dodgers is because they've won back-to-back. There's pressure on them, but no. Aaron Judge and the New York Yankees are way overdue since 2009. Aaron Baboon and Aaron Judge, anybody named Aaron for a 20-mile radius, should be worried about getting it done this year. But first, Aaron Judge, our captain, our captain, probably going to win the MVP again this year. He's my pick to be the AL MVP. But the question is, can Aaron Judge come through in a big spot? We know that he can hit 350 during the regular season and mash 50 home runs. We get it. He's one of the greatest prolific right-handed hitters I've ever seen in my life. I get it. But wake me up in October with Aaron Judge. He's going to have to do it on the biggest stage, which is October in New York. And that's why Aaron Judge's career without the PEDs is so similar to Alex Rodriguez's career with the New York Yankees. Won MVPs, almost taken for granted how good and the talent level of Alex Rodriguez and Aaron Judge, but could never get it done in crunch time. I mean, you think back all the way to Alex Rodriguez. He was hitting in the 8th spot against the Gary Sheffield-led Detroit Tigers in the playoffs, and Joe Torre and him had a major blowout. But Aaron Judge's performance in the World Baseball Classic with Team USA, where he was the poster child of, he did not come through once again in the clutch, and it only got louder. He thinks about it. People in baseball think about it, and now it's a thing. I can't sit here and lie to my fans and let them think that Aaron Judge got the monkey off his back in the postseason last year. He didn't. That 3-run home run against the Toronto Blue Jays was in a losing effort. To get the monkey off your back, a la Alex Rodriguez in 2009 against the Minnesota Twins, you have to have a big home run, and your team has to produce and win. So the pressure is on Aaron Judge. Now the question is, how is Aaron Judge going to handle that this year? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think the captain has it, or should we be worried about Aaron Judge in clutch time? Because everyone's saying that he is not clutch after the catch in the World Series in the 5th inning. It seems like no matter what he does, it does not matter until he produces on the biggest stage, which is the postseason in New York. But as far as the 2026 season is concerned, my biggest worry out of the gate for the New York Yankees is early in the season. I don't think right now that the New York Yankees are putting their best foot forward. If you look at all the Vegas projections, the win total over and unders for Major League Baseball, the American League East is going to be airtight this year. The New York Yankees around 90 wins, and everybody has about 1 win off going all the way down to the Baltimore Orioles. So this is going to be one of the most competitive AL East ever. And the reason I bring it up is because you can't afford to do a 4-man rotation and not bring up the best players that we have from AAA right now, because every single game counts. So what I mean by putting your best foot forward is not allowing money to get in the way, is where Trent Grisham has a spring training where he bats 0.93 for the whole spring training, and the best hitter out of all of your spring training is Jason Dominguez. Now, everyone says, oh, Trent Grisham hit 34 home runs last year. That's great. I think if Jason Dominguez played every single day, that he could hit around 26 home runs. Now, it makes no sense for Trent Grisham that he's playing over Jason Dominguez because it's solely about money. Because Jason Dominguez is a very good left-handed hitter. Trent Grisham is a left-handed hitter. So if Jason Dominguez were to move over to left field, Cody Bellinger in center field, Trent Grisham could start the year in AAA. And don't give me this old narrative of the fact that Trent Grisham is a Gold Glove caliber center fielder. Who won the Gold Glove last year, and why was he in sixth place in the American League last year if he's such a Gold Glove level center fielder? Cody Bellinger should be the center fielder of this team. Jason Dominguez should be starting left field tomorrow. You start the future, and you start a guy on the process of becoming a superstar in Major League Baseball. I think that he can be. I am a firm believer in Jason Dominguez. Trent Grisham has been nothing but a stopgap and a logjam for the career development of Jason Dominguez because last year, Trent Grisham came out of nowhere. I don't think that Trent Grisham will replicate last year's numbers. In fact, even Baseball Reference, ESPN, you name it, all the projections are having Trent Grisham having a down year. And after the spring training that he just had, I wouldn't feel comfortable with him leading off baseball games to start the season as a table setter for the New York Yankees. Another thing that worries me about the New York Yankees is that they're doing a four-man rotation. They're doing Max Fried, Cam Schlittler, Will Warren, and Luis Seal. First of all, Will Warren won the job in spring training. He was one of the most efficient, lowest ERAs, best whips on the Yankees during spring training, and I was a big fan of Will Warren. Yes, was he giving up runs in bunches like every third start? Absolutely. Would he put himself behind the eight ball where he would have to be climbing uphill for the rest of his start last year? Absolutely. But the best ability is availability, guys, and that's what Will Warren provides. He had 33 starts for the New York Yankees last year, and especially I always praise and give flowers to Max Fried and Carlos Rodon for the workhorses that they were last year, but Will Warren was completely looked over. But that's not the problem that I have. Cam Schlittler, Max Fried, Will Warren with the injuries that we have right now, that's great. How do you have Ryan Weathers starting this season with an 8 ERA in spring training, and you have a guy like Luis Heel sending him down to AAA? Let me ask you, who would you rather be the fourth starter on this team right now? Ryan Weathers, who we have no experience with, that we don't know at all, or would you rather have Luis Heel, whose last outing was 5 innings of scoreless ball, 1 hit, and 7 strikeouts, and only 1 walk? The problem with Luis Heel last year was he would give up 4 walks a game. He only gave up 6 walks all of spring training. So this is what I'm getting back to about scratching my head with some of the moves that they made. I think that Luis Heel and Jason Dominguez should start this season on the major league level. Now, the other argument about Jason Dominguez is that he won't be able to play every day, and this kid needs to play every day. It's great. But you're telling me that the New York Yankees are better with Gettrick being our fourth outfielder because he has a right-handed bat? Who cares? I'm done with the New York Yankees bending over backwards to get reclamation projects playing time. I mean, I would much rather have a guy like Jason Dominguez than a journeyman from the Rangers who's been around the league, who hits a 678 OPS against right-handers. Listen, they're obsessed with getting more right-handed bats on this team, but guess what? Cashman's the one that assembled it with nothing but left-handers. And in fact, the New York Yankees, for our left-handed bats, hit left-handed pitching the best in the American League. So I think the big lefty on lefty and righty on righty thing is completely overblown because I have no idea why Ahmad Rosario, why the New York Yankees organization blows this guy on a consistent basis. But you know what? Let me go through the whole roster this year, the starters, the position players, the bench, the bullpen, all of it. Let's start off with the starting rotation. Max Fried. I think Max Fried is going to have another good year. But just like a lot of New York Yankees on this team, they are going to step back. And what I mean by that is Max Fried had his biggest workload last year. So he is going to have a little bit of trouble bouncing back from that workload. You saw him and Rodon run out of gas at the end of last year in the postseason. And what was the New York Yankees' biggest problem in the postseason last year? It was starting pitching, starting pitching, starting pitching. It wasn't the hitting, but the New York Yankees need Max Fried to be that 1A, 1B on this team because the New York Yankees don't know what version of Garrett Cole that we're getting back. Garrett Cole, even before the injury, Max would go about 6 innings, 100 pitches, and sometimes he would be able to kick it up to about 7 or 8 innings if he was really dealing that night. But they do not know who Garrett Cole is when he comes back. But guess what? Garrett Cole doesn't need to be that guy that throws the whole team on his back anymore because he has the emerging Cam Schlittler and Max Fried and Carlos Rodon. And all of the injuries last year, Luis Heel being out for 3/4 of the season, all those injuries made the New York Yankees a better depth team and a more well-rounded team because guys like Will Warren and Luis Seal had to step up and bridge the gap last year. There was also Cookie Carrasco and Marcus Stroman, but thank God we don't have to talk about them because they're not on the team this year. But Luis Seal impressed me with his spring training because last year, he came back in the second half of the season, out of shape in camp, got himself hurt on the heels of the Rookie of the Year, and this was supposed to be the prove-it year for Luis Seal. I don't know if he's hurt right now. I don't know if they want to tweak some stuff, but I really think that they shouldn't be messing around with Luis Seal. Also, I don't know about the bullpen. I've been hearing a lot about that, about Luis Seal's transition to the bullpen, because one of these guys, it's going to be a game of musical chairs. The Yankees have way too much starting pitching and middle relief guys like Yarborough and stuff. But you take a guy like Luis Seal, man, I don't know. For confidence, after that last start in spring training, I would let him start because literally you owe zero solidarity towards Ryan Weathers. He just got on the team. You owe more from seniority to Luis Seal, and I think that the New York Yankees might have caused a little bit of friction with their team this year. Let's get to Cam Schlittler. I'm really, really, really excited about this guy, obviously. But Cam Schlittler, the size, the mentality, the pitching performance against the Boston Red Sox last year, I was in the stadium with the 8 innings, one of the best playoff pitching performances I've ever seen by a New York Yankee. He came on the scene hot. He was another guy that had to get his control and his secondary pitches down. But once he figured that out, he was indispensable for the New York Yankees. And you know what? He replicated in spring training with a 0.93 ERA, and he has been lights out. So knock on wood, let's just stay healthy. And the scary part about Cam Schlittler is he's only 24. He's 6'4". He hasn't even filled out yet. This kid is so young. He hasn't started growing. And you know what? He has that frame to be that big workhorse ace, just like Garrett Cole. And not to mention, think about all the pitchers that he is growing up around that can share their knowledge. Garrett Cole is like a quasi-pitching coach right now and a student of the game. So I think Cam Schlittler is in a position to completely bounce back. But just like hitters, the books do get out on pitchers. So it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the AL East and the rest of Major League Baseball actually handle and approach Cam Schlittler. Will Warren, I touched on him. Best abilities, availability, 33 starts last year, best ERA and whip in spring training. I think he can build on last year, and the Yankees think very highly of him. I was in the minority last year. He was my adopted son of the year, Will Warren, and I was singing his praises. He did put himself behind the 8 ball when he would let up 5 runs, but hey, listen, Carlos Rodon did that a lot in his first year as a New York Yankee, and he was a veteran. So I expect big things from Will Warren. Covered Luis Heel. Carlos Rodon, when he comes back, great regular season pitcher, okay, guys? And you might hear me joke about him, calling him scrambled eggs brains and chips in my elbow. He's going to be probably back early May, but Carlos Rodon is a liability in the postseason time. And I think that's why you're seeing so many starting pitchers come up for the New York Yankees, is because even though Carlos Rodon is very good, he is a liability in crunch time. I would put him and Aaron Judge kind of in the same space with pressing when the pressure is the highest, and he's going to start to get a reputation for not producing in the playoffs. And you know what? It worries me with Carlos Rodon. But until then, the starting pitching of the New York Yankees is going to be their strongest aspect this year. It's just a matter of Aaron Baboon, Bubbles, Buffoon can handle it the right way, because when Clark Schmidt comes back, when a lot of guys come back from injury like Garrett Cole, you're going to have about 8 available arms. But what does worry me about the New York Yankees is the depth in the bullpen, guys. I know every team, and it can be said for a lot of teams, is that they're one injury away in their bullpen from things starting to get ugly. The New York Yankees have a lot of middle relief pitching. So I think what you're going to see in the beginning of the year, because they are going with that 4-man rotation, since they have 4 days off in the first month that they're playing this year. But what you're seeing is that the Yankees have something this year that they have been missing. That's middle relief. You have a guy like a Swiss Army knife plus like Yarborough, who can be that middle relief spot starter guy with a rubber arm, can get up, get down in the bullpen, and it won't wear his arm out. Also, another guy that kind of fits into that category of the middle relief kind of guy is Paul Blackburn. I don't know why Paul Blackburn's on this team. I think the New York Yankees, that's another reclamation project that they think if they screw it around and they move a couple of pieces around, they can really make him into something. The New York Yankees are huge on Brett Hedrick this year. He did not impress me during spring training. He's another left-hander, just like Yarborough, out of the bullpen. I don't expect much from him, but the New York Yankees are very high on him. Another guy I am high on is Tim Hill, King of the Hill, and he might be getting high in the break room at AutoZone. 2-for-1 oil filters. Buy one on Thursday, I kick your ass on Friday. Hey, Tim, your wife's on the phone. Tell her I'll call her back. Woo! I told you before, Tim Hill should be the 7th inning guy on this team. Period. Stop. Not a specialist, not a dude with a strong mustache and a propensity for menthol cools. Tim Hill is the goods. Okay, I trust him over a guy like Fernando Cruz, who's my next reliever I'd like to talk about, because Fernando Cruz is a little bit of a liability. He falls in love with his sinker ball, and he's never met a pitch that he doesn't think that he can throw, and that's a problem. But when he is on, all good. When he's off, he'll walk the whole goddamn ballpark, and that's a problem. But Fernando Cruz is the least of the New York Yankees' worry. But getting to Duvall worries me a little bit. Duvall's got all the stuff in the world, but he has a little bit of control issues. That's why he reminds me of Louis Seal so much. They got the same frame, same kind of stuff, same kind of delivery, but he needs to get the walks down. As long as Duvall gets the walks down, he's going to be an amazing 8th inning guy. Then we had Bednar. Listen, Bednar's a good closer, but he's one of those guys that has to stay warm. When Bednar has time off, just like he came in against the Miami Marlins game last year when we got him from the trade deadline, he had 3 days off and he got lit up like a Christmas tree. If you notice, he had rough starts in the World Baseball Classic because he'd go 2 days without pitching. He'd be a little rusty when he started the game, but just like David Robertson, he would get out of trouble like Houdini, and I am not worried about Bednar. Is he top 3 closers in all Major League Baseball? Maybe. Is he top 5? I think so. But the New York Yankees, that was their biggest problem last year, is that the fact that Brian Cashman has lucked out year after year after year after year, getting these no-name dudes and getting a bullpen that's stellar, whether it's Jonathan Loáisiga, Luke Weaver, all these reclamation projects that they love to do. they've always come up aces. And last year, they were ranked 24th in the bullpen last year, and that was a big problem for the New York Yankees, was not closing out games. But that's changed. We're not going to see low-lev Deb, thank God, this year. My boy, Luke Dreamweaver, is gone. They both shipped over to Queens. So Met fans, good luck with both of those guys. So we will see. The Yankees have options in AAA because guys like Lagrange, who was a future starter on this team, who's pitching 102 with a 0.93 ERA, another guy that was pitching lights out, but he got lit up the last start. He let up 8 runs his last start, so kind of come down to earth moment for him. But also, the New York Yankees have guys like Elmer Rodriguez Cruz, who's another starter. Reminds me of Chang Ming Wong with the ground ball and the split finger and the sinker. Did very well for Puerto Rico. So you got Ben Hess, who was brought down to AAA. The one guy that was brought down to AAA that really, really hurts my heart is Oswaldo Cabrera. Before he fractured his ankle, he was our Swiss Army knife. He was our DJ LeMahieu when DJ LeMahieu decided to turn into Frankenstein with 2 left feet. And Oswaldo Cabrera, who is a switch hitter, it's kind of the same deal with Jason Dominguez. Oswaldo Cabrera, Jason Dominguez, both hit better from the left side of the plate. They need a right-handed bat, and that's why you're going to see Gittrick. That's why you're going to see Rosario, who I can't fucking stand. I know I keep saying that, but you're going to hear it all year from me. Let's go down the batting order right now, what I think is going to happen this year, what I think is going to wind up happening. So Trent Grisham, you already know how I feel about him. I'm not going to repeat history. I think he's going to have a down year. I think he caught lightning in a bottle last year, and the Yankees now have Jason Dominguez in the wings. Listen, Jason, stay frosty, stay sharp in AAA because Trent Grisham, he's going to be on that leash. But the question is, when the money and the rubber meets the road, are they going to let Jason Dominguez play over Trent Grisham because Trent Grisham's making $22 million, and they'll tell you, oh, Jason Dominguez is 23, let him be. Spencer Jones, he belongs in AAA, guys. I know the spring training that he has. Chicks dig the long ball. It looks sexy. I'm torn between letting the young guys play and letting the veterans play. Spencer Jones needs time to incubate, okay? He needs time to chill in AAA, fix that little hole in his swing. Impressive spring training, but he's young. They don't need him this year. They got plenty of outfielders, okay? Then we go to Aaron Judge, MVP of the AL, needs to come through in crunch time. We already covered that. Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger, got a little bone to pick with you. Wish that you actually signed the contract with the New York Yankees a little bit earlier so it would have freed up a little bit of room for Brian Cashman to make some more room for the New York Yankees, in the offseason. But Cody Bellinger, he's another one that just had a contract year. What goes up must come down. I don't think Cody's going to have a big drop-off, though. Just a slight drop-off for Cody, but then even a slight drop-off for Cody is a very good year for a lot of people. Then we got Jazz Chisholm. I think Jazz Chisholm is going to have a big year. I think he can put up another 40 home runs. You're talking about him in a contract year, and the only person that's going to defeat Jazz Chisholm is Jazz Chisholm. It's the mouth of his. It's that head of his. I've said it before. Jazz, 70%, bro. Speak less 70% of the time. Swing 70% with the effort. And you will be an all-star once again and probably the best second baseman in all of Major League Baseball. So I'm expecting big things from Jazz Chisholm. Ben Rice. Everyone is expecting huge things from Ben Rice, and so am I. All the tea leaves are pointing in the right direction. It just makes me nervous when everyone's talking about Ben Rice and how he's going to break out this year. It just, I don't know. Sophomore jinx in my head. I'm not saying that he's going to have a bad year. The one thing that you have to look about Ben Rice is the new year. Ben Rice had the most bad luck outs in all of Major League Baseball last year, and he still put up those kind of numbers. Not to mention, he's going to be playing at one position now. He's not showing up to the stadium and they go, hey, you're catching today. Hey, you're DH. Hey, you're first base. Hey, you're not playing after hitting 3 home runs and 9 RBIs. So Ben Rice will be more consistent by having consistency on the defensive end of the ball. So I think Ben Rice is going to have a big, big year. Randall Gittrick, I already talked about him. Get out of here. You can of beef stew, Dinty Moore. Then we got Ahmad Rosario, another journeyman. The only reason that he's on this roster is because the Yankees front office blows him on a consistent basis, and he's a right-handed batter. We have Ryan McMahon. Ryan McMahon, that's a big problem for the New York Yankees. They have his swing in the garage on the ground like a transmission's been taken apart. He's another one that hit below 100 average in spring training this year. Does he play gold glove level defense? Absolutely. Can the Yankees get away with him just playing defense at third base and getting away with that? Absolutely. Do they have options if Ryan McMahon continues this monumental biblical slump that he's on? Yes. Rosario can play third. Caballero can play third. Even if it gets down to it, really, this is probably not going to happen. Lombard Jr., but you're not going to see him this year. Spencer Jones, Lombard Jr., they're still going to be down in AAA this year and work on development. Then, if you got third base, then you got Caballero at shortstop. I like Caballero. I want to see what he does as an everyday player. He can steal bags. If you watched him in the World Baseball Classic, he literally tore it up for Panama, had big hits, clutch situations. I'm really, really excited for Caballero this year. And also, I'm excited for Anthony Volpe when he comes back. I told you about the contract manipulation. When Anthony comes back from the torn labrum, they will send him down to AAA for 28 days. That pushes his contract back for 2 more years. So it's contract manipulation from the New York Yankees, and I think that they won't re-sign Jazz Chisholm when it comes down to it because he's going to ask for $325 million, and your second baseman of the future might be Anthony Volpe, folks, because that's always been his natural position, and I think that's exactly where Anthony Volpe will end up. What do I expect from Anthony Volpe this year? Playing 124 games. I think that might be the best thing that ever happened to him. They've treated like a rented mule the last 3 years. He was brought up early, and so was Austin Wells. They were pushed ahead of schedule, and you know what? Maybe Anthony Volpe, the pressure's off of a little bit because he was always just the only shortstop that they had on their team for the last 2 years. So it was all eyes on him like Tupac, and now maybe the pressure's off a little bit, miss a little bit of time. And this guy, I don't know if it's Cashman's fault. I don't know if it's the fan base's fault. This guy was pushed as the next Derek Jeter when he didn't ask for any of that. All right. So we got first, we got second, we got all that. Giancarlo Stanton. Hey, listen, man. Giancarlo Stanton, if he can stay healthy all season long, he can hit 30 bombs. If he misses half the season, he'll hit 25 bombs. The guy will get his numbers. Giancarlo Stanton just needs to stay healthy, okay? Austin Wells, I'm thinking big things for Austin Wells this year. Last year, I thought was going to be his utterly big breakout season for Austin Wells. I think it's this year. I think my feeling was a year off. This guy's ceiling is very, very high. Watching what he just did in the World Baseball Classic, and you know what? Maybe being around that many good hitters and being in that dugout, maybe he got some tips from guys like Juan Soto and some of the best Dominican hitters on planet Earth, because Austin Wells was the catcher of the World Baseball Classic. And you know what? That's a notch to put under your belt for a guy that's had a hard time from the fans. And not to mention, Austin Wells got that shit beat out of him behind the plate last year. It seemed like every 3 times a game, he was getting hit by a foul ball, either in the necks, the chops, or in the knees, wherever in the toes, and he was getting the shit beat out of him. So I think Austin Wells, I think he's going to have a very good year. I think he's going to have a big year. So just remember I said that because I don't make a lot of predictions. Also, by the way, I don't like to make predictions on this show. I will do them at the end of the show, because people are asking me and stuff, but I don't really like to do it. And if I was that good at making predictions, I would be gambling on FanDuel and not making money from ad revenue on here on YouTube. And by the way, it's NEWYRK, New York Minute Sports. It's New York Sports for New York Nuts. Anywhere in that smoke wagon you call the information superhighway, you can find New York Minute Sports. I'm going to be covering the New York Yankees all season long, and also going to be covering the Blue Jays, the Orioles, the Boston Red Sox, checking in with them, checking in with the AL East. And speaking of that, we've got the predictions for the AL East this year, and then Vegas has the New York Yankees with 90 wins in first place, winning the AL East. Then in second place, you have the Blue Jays, just getting close to what they replicated last year, 88 and 74. Then you got the Red Sox at 87 wins and 75 losses, and the Baltimore Orioles in a very close fourth place at 86 and 76, and they got the Rays with 79 wins and 83 losses. So, like I said, it's going to be tight this year. The Boston Red Sox got Sonny Gray. Where is the hitting going to come from with losing Bregman? They're another one where they got a good mix of veterans and youth. I think the Boston Red Sox have the best pitching staff in the American League East. I think the New York Yankees, once everyone's healthy, will have the best pitching staff. But until then, until proven otherwise, the Boston Red Sox have the best pitching in the American League East. Then you have the Toronto Blue Jays. Listen, man, this ain't no hate. This ain't no haterade. I call balls and strikes, no pun intended, and you know that I tell you the truth right here on New York Minute. I don't think the Blue Jays can replicate what they did last year. Everything felt the right way. Every single domino felt. Every bolt of lightning hit exactly where you wanted it to hit. Is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. going to be a problem and wake me up in cold sweats in the middle of the season? Absolutely. Are the Toronto Blue Jays going to be a pain in the ass for the New York Yankees and everyone in the AL East next year? Absolutely. They lost some hitting. They lost some pitching. I don't know. I think it's going to come back to effort, and can you replicate what they did last year? Then you got a team like the O's. The O's added Pete Alonso, Pete the Meat. Then, like always with the Orioles, where's the pitching going to come from? I think they're going to come out like gangbusters in the beginning of the season, play a very decent first half of the year, then they're going to fall off like they do every single year. The greatest thing about the New York Yankees is that they have depth now. 2 years ago when the Yankees went to the World Series, they had Verdugo playing left field and they had Anthony Rizzo playing first. So now the Yankees have youth in bunches. And now also, by the way, the game tomorrow, the season opener, is going to be on Netflix, which is utter complete bullshit. And they should make this game as easy as possible. It should be on local TV. The reason I fell in love with baseball is because I'm dating myself now. It was on Channel 11 free baseball, WPIX, and the announcer was Phil Rizzuto, former shortstop. He's in Monument Park in Yankee Stadium. Former shortstop, MVP of the Yankees. 5'8" Italian man, served in World War II, and he would do the announcements of the game. By the way, such an Italian dude from Brooklyn that he would leave the game in the seventh inning to beat traffic and announce it on the announcement. But that's how I grew up watching baseball. And my father told me, he goes, you know what? Baseball is free in this house. When the New York Yankees moved from WPIX Channel 11 to the MSG network at the time, you had to pay for baseball. It was $45 a month. I went up and asked my father, I go, hey, Dad, can we buy the MSG network? He goes, brings me to Radio Shack, buys me your radio, goes, hey, baseball's free on there. That's where I fell in love with John Sterling, and I listened to John for about 33 years. I still, to this day, big radio guy. If you don't listen to the radio and watch baseball, guys, you're missing out. Fire that grill up this year, turn the AM radio on, and listen to the smooth sounds of baseball. I know that John's gone, but it's just always so good. Reminds me of summer, reminds me of the good old days with summertime and listening to baseball. And that's the greatest thing about baseball. It's a marathon, not a sprint. We are going to have baseball 5 times a week. This is what we've been waiting for, folks. As far as my predictions, I feel like I am jinxing the team. I am the guy that sits in his driveway until the end of the inning because I feel like if I get out of my car, the Yankees will lose. I'm the guy in the stadium that sat there at the Greg Bird game the whole time after he hit that one home run for 9 innings. I didn't move. I didn't go to the bathroom. I didn't go to the concessions. And I believe I'm solely responsible for that win that year. So I'll do predictions because you guys asked me, and I love you guys, and I'm a pushover. So I think the Yankees are going to win the AL East. I think that Crochet will be the Cy Young Award winner. I believe that the World Series will be the San Diego Padres and the Detroit Tigers. I don't know. Just trying that one out. Put that one in your pipe and smoke it. But listen, why don't you take me, roll me up, New York Minute Sports, put me in some paper and smoke me up on Instagram, right here on YouTube, or anywhere in that smoke wagon you call the information superhighway, you can find New York Minute Sports. It's New York Sports for New York Knights, and the postgame starts tomorrow night. It's going to be fun. I'm going to be here covering it all for you guys. Wow, I love you guys, and remember, if you can't be good, be bad, baby! Good night, Canada. Bye.